Let's take a look at Super Bowl odds. San Francisco, another one of my picks, at 1. Baltimore at 2. Kansas City plus 700 at 3. Followed by Miami. Philly, who Brew temporarily has. And finally, Dallas have the Chiefs, who have the 3rd best scoring defense and the 10th best scoring offense, which I was concerned about in the past, become actually underrated at this point.
All right, America, look at this clown. And Wilds gets mad when Brew and I call him a clown, but he does clown things. Like right after having the 2nd most famous Chiefs fan in America and the mayor of Kansas City officially on video on this show tell you you've been excommunicated from Chiefs Kingdom. You break into my office, take my Chiefs championship belt that was sent to me by the team, and you put it on the show.
Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like I got excommunicated.
Oh, no, okay. So here's the thing.
Deal with the show. Don't worry about me.
Stink. All right, that's fine.
Like
I'll talk to that. I don't think they are underrated by Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't think they are underrated by the bettors. Now, listen, I think that I would flip-flop Baltimore and Kansas City, but that's parsing. I think that they are considered right now a consensus top 3 team, especially given what happened to Philly yesterday. I think that right now most people have San Francisco as a clear number 1 for the whole league, and then Baltimore and Kansas City right there after them, and then a group of, I think, Dallas, Miami, Philly, Detroit, kind of in a group right there with Buffalo. Some people have it like if they get in, they're there. So I don't think they're underrated, except for on shows like this, because I think, and this was my frustration yesterday, I feel like for a team that it seems like we all agree, probably right now 3rd best team in the league, all we do is talk about their flaws. All we do is talk about their issues. And even after a win where they did a lot of the things that people have been demanding of, you, Wilds, were aghast that I was happy with it. After hearing all week on this show and others, oh, that Patriots defense, hottest defense in the NFL.
Well, Tua won 30-0 against the Jets defense, but we didn't have a parade.
Hold on, but I would argue personally that if anybody on any of the shows the week leading up to it was saying the Jets are going to win, they should have then on Monday been like, good job, Tua, as opposed to you didn't do enough.
They have the 10th best scoring offense.
Yes, yeah.
So if Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio make it the 10th best movie of the year, we'd be like, you know what? And it doesn't
heavy as the head that wears the crown. You know that. I mean, that's what it is.
So is the question? This is what I don't understand. Is the question: is the Chiefs' offense become underrated, or the Chiefs' team?
They're 8-5. I mean, that's not a great record.
I agree. Do you agree with me, Brew, that they right now? Like, I think you agree with everything I said.
I don't think they're underrated on our show.
And I think
because you think they're going to win it. You think they're going to win it. I think they got a great chance. I do think other shows, I was listening to pundits this morning saying they cannot make the Super Bowl with that group of receivers. I'm not going that far. So I do think among pundits and analysts, they are underrated. I think Vegas, I agree with you, has it right. I think this is right on the money. The only reason to put them ahead of Baltimore is history. Yeah. That's it. But outside of that, this year, who's played better? San Francisco, Baltimore, Kansas City. So
let's talk about that group of receivers. If they just catch the ball, they've got the best record in the AFC.
Right. Best record in football, probably.
Well, I don't know about football, but they're right there with them. They're right there with. But if they just catch the football, so the reason that they're undervalued, if you will, if they are undervalued, is because we have such expectations of Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes.
I have an expectation of them to play better than they're playing. And I look at 8-5 and I say, that's not where you should be. So they have underachieved based upon the drops, the turnovers, the things that they haven't done well. So I look at them right now as 3rd in behind San Francisco, behind Baltimore. That makes sense to me. But I will tell you this. If the games get switched in the AFC and they have to go to Kansas City, if Baltimore has to go to Kansas City,
that's game time.
Yeah.
If
I had to pick, I would take Kansas City at home.
And I think a lot of people will pick the Chiefs on the road in that spot. By the way, I understand that, again, on this show, we're going to act like the Patriots game didn't count, but it did. So they are 9-5, to be fair. Oh. They are like Wild.
Usually you only get a half game for beating the Patriots.
You put out a pithy tweet. I thought it was funny with the contenders issues. It was really a Niners tweet. Yes. A Niners team that Wilds, after picking to miss the playoffs, now is winning the Super Bowl. It should be noted.
Injuries.
And it was all the contenders' issues, and the Niners was which one of our guys should win MVP.
Yeah.
But I also looked at it as a Chiefs tweet. because Philadelphia's issue was defense.
Yeah, as a whole.
Doesn't seem fixable. Dallas's issue was road games.
Yeah.
Unless they're the 1 seed, doesn't seem fixable. Baltimore's issue was injuries that are that they have already sustained. Doesn't seem fixable. The Chiefs' issues was wide receiver drops, the biggest culprit of which, you know what they can do? Not play.
So I like that. So
they can just put Tony. I know that Tony hasn't been the whole thing,
Yeah.
but he's been the
All
most
of them have had
glaring in
issues.
game 1 and the last game.
But they don't want to seem to bench him.
I don't think they want to, but I think they might end up having to.
do you think the issue in the drops is magnified because the offense overall isn't that great? So an example, the offense in the Patriots game played pretty well. You got like a short field on a Zappy interception as well. But then in the fourth quarter, when Kadarius Toney drops it, you already had a big enough lead so it didn't kill you. But these games have come down to like, oh, that pass interference. Oh, the one pick six. When the margins are so small, these tiny errors get magnified because all of a sudden they're costing you the game when before they wouldn't.
I agree that the distinction that I would draw is people, oddly, have never panicked in the 6 years Mahomes has been there. This is not the only month-long slump they've had as far as a team record. Offense, the only time they panic is when the Chiefs lose because they don't score. When the Chiefs would lose, when they lost to the Rams 54-51, when they were losing games because they could never get a stop, nobody panicked. And the reason
same wasn't as expected of them either. They weren't a two-time.
No, of course. But I agree with you, Brew, that the expectations have risen. But would you agree with me that right now, if they had the same record with the number 3 offense and the number 10 defense, and their losses were close one-score losses because the other team made a great offensive play, defense couldn't get a stop, people wouldn't be treating it the same. It's because they're not used to the Chiefs being able to lean on the defense.
So
and I think the other thing is the Super Bowl that they played in, where offensively they didn't produce, they got beat by Tampa.
We also have a full screen here, 1,800 total yards and 20 touchdowns through week 15 since I've been alive. 2 guys won the MVP, and there was McCaffrey right there. Yeah. So, Nick, this seems to be...
just seems relevant.
Yeah.
Seems relevant.
What his
Kittle's saying, and listen, the numbers are, the 20 TDs, here's the thing. Mostert also has 20. Yeah. But then after that, it's 14 from Jalen, and then 12 for the next group. So there's one other guy, another running back, by the way, in a Shanahan-style offense, Mike McDaniel, one of his protégés, who has 20 TDs. And to me, it's very simple. I don't think he's the most valuable Niner. I think that I don't know how he can be the league's most valuable player. I think that if Niner fans were told going into a playoff game, we are either going to be without Brock and have Sam Darnold, step in, or without Christian McCaffrey, they would say, we'll roll with Darnold. I think Shanahan would do the same.
This hypothetical.
So this is all hypothetical.
Dirty pool.
Kittle, we played almost his whole quote except when he said, like Stink yesterday, if you want a best QB award, make a best quarterback award. Yeah. Let's keep the MVP for the most valuable player.
Yeah.
So part of Kittle's philosophy is, like you said yesterday, Stink, it shouldn't be a quarterback.
No, it should.
No, that's the quote he said.
No, but he was
you
saying
didn't see it because they didn't show it.
No, I watched the whole thing. He was saying it shouldn't only be quarterbacks, not quarterback. Steve was saying quarterbacks should be ineligible.
He was saying close because the people he focused on were McCaffrey and Kittle and Tyreek. But anyway, here's the thing: McCaffrey is great. He's phenomenal. He's not doing anything historic, which is what you usually have to do to win it as a non-QB. Brock Purdy is doing something that's phenomenal now and historic. I'm going to get these graphics up because yesterday I got cut off. Here's what he's doing this year. He's leading the league in essentially everything. And 2 of those, Mark's passer rating yards per attempt, top 5 single season all time.
Yep.
All right, now, secondly, let's see this one, Dusty. These quarterbacks, historically, only 7 have had 10 wins or more, 9 or more yards per attempt, 3 touchdown to interception ratio of 3 or better. They all won MVPs.
Good graphic.
Brock Purdy's got to do that. And then we got something else. Best passer rating on deep passes. Because all I hear is he's dink and dunk, right? Deep passes, 20 yards or more. He's got the best passer rating
Who's number 2 on that
ever.
list?
ever since 2006
So
since they've been recording
number one on
ever.
that list?
Matt Ryan, who won MVP number 2.
Under Kyle Shanahan.
Fine. Do we punish Patrick Mahomes because Andy Reid and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce?
No, but I
Did we punish Montana and Young because of Jerry Rice and Roger Craig and John Taylor and all those guys?
Where I look at the MVPs of the last 20 years. And they are all, those are compelling, but they are all like legendary players who, except for maybe Sean Alexander, who was at a legendary run, except for one. There's Matt Ryan, who's really good. And what did Matt Ryan win? Because the numbers because the numbers were undeniable, and he had to do it. And the common thread is, of course, Kyle. And I said this before, and I'll say it to you. I feel like Kyle has done for quarterbacks what his dad did for running backs, which is it builds such a great system that where if you are good, you can look like an MVP. And to me, he's not the MVP.
Well, I will tell you this about Purdy. Purdy's playing at an incredibly high level. And does he have a lot of weapons? Yes. Does he have a great system? Yes. All those things are true. You can't become a superstar until you're a superstar, right? Jokic has more for you. So the bottom line is he's playing his way in to superstardom. Still, with Christian McCaffrey, you're talking about a guy that can run up between the tackles and affect you in the running game. He can get outside the numbers and affect you on the perimeter of the defense. He can catch the ball out of the backfield in all the running back routes. And he could line up. If you remember in Stanford, there were some that were saying, hey, this guy could be the best, one of the top receivers in this potential draft. So he can get outside the numbers and he can run all the receiver routes as well. He is such a dynamic threat. And anytime he's in the game, that's where you link to. You say, how are we going to stop number 23?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.